My name is Zhazira Karabalyeva, and I'm from Kazakhstan, and I'm teaching English and French, both at master's level and even in undergraduate level. And sometimes I teach at school, but mostly it's more in the form of English and French clubs. So I wanted to show you the tools that I found extremely helpful during this transition from in-person teaching to online teaching. So how do I choose online tools? So first of all, I look at the interface. Does it have a friendly interface? The programs that I'm going to show you, they're very easy to use. Are they interactive? I really like to have live responses from my students throughout the session, and those tools are actually very helpful in this regard. Is there an opportunity for self-study and extra practice? In most of the tools I'm going to show, there's an opportunity for students to continue what they're studied in the classroom, to do it on their own, in the comfort of their houses, and at the pace that is comfortable for them. Can I facilitate instruction? So sometimes I'm thinking how to explain how something works. Sometimes I use the tutorials from the internet. That's what I usually do. I sometimes send out to students, so this is how it works. Sometimes I create my own tutorials, but some tools are very useful in terms of explaining concepts or explaining certain terms. They're amazing. And can it facilitate reflection? I really think that reflection is key to students' understanding and their progress. And especially in developing their meta-learning skills. So thinking about their style of learning. And that's where polls or reflections at the end of the lesson are vital. Can it help develop high order thinking? Of course, it depends on you, how you use those tools. But I often think if the tool has the function more than just multiple choice or yes and no answer. So I really like the tools or reflections that have this opportunity for a more expanded responses. Let's see. The first one is Mentimeter. I love Mentimeter because it's very easy to use. And I'm going to show you step by step how to use Mentimeter and why I like it so much. So what is it? It's live polls, quizzes, word clouds, Q&As in real-time input. And I really like to use them during my sessions over Zoom or MS Teams. That's the two tools I mainly use for teaching. So how does it work? This is the interface. Usually when the students are participating in the Mentimeter poll, they usually enter the code. This is how it works. But of course, if you're a teacher, you have to create your own poll. Here it is. So I usually do it via Google. That's my favorite way to log in to any program. It's very fast, and it's for example, if I go to Mentimeter, it's automatically recognizes my Google account, and it's automatically there. It's like just one click. But of course, there are other options. You can use Facebook, you can use email, but I mean, it's up to you to choose. So this is how my Mentimeter dashboard looks like. The most important thing here is new presentation. This is how to create a presentation. You have to have a name for it. So I like to ask students, how are you today? And this is the very simple, in some reflections of my students, that was the first time when they felt like somebody actually wants to know how they're feeling, because most of the time it's like, let's start the presentation, let's talk about something. It's really nice to start the lesson with like, how are you today? And I create the word cloud. That's how I usually do that. So you write the name of the presentation, the maximum 88 letters that you can use in the name, and then you just click create presentation. This is the type of questions you can create in Mentimeter. And the most simple one is, of course, multiple choice. So as you can see, multiple choice, you can ask any question, and in real time, you will see the bars going up. If somebody votes for a certain option, you would see it automatically in a real time on the screen, and it looks very interesting, very engaging. A lot of students love that option. So the way I use that is for a debate, for example. Sometimes before starting a debate, we first brainstorm like ideas for and against. And sometimes we do even create a poll to see how many students actually agree or disagree with certain quotes. Also, it works fantastic with the brainstorming for opinion essays. So that's where students can agree and disagree. And that's maybe the first step to generate certain discussion or to brainstorm ideas. Word cloud, this is one of my favorite baby functions. I use a lot word cloud and open-ended questions, that this is how it looks like. You can see the words that they, as if there are more than one student entering the same word, it's going to be bigger, and the word that is mentioned only once is going to be on a periphery, and it's going to be just small letters. The next one is open-ended. I do that at the end of the lesson. You can also use Q&A, it's very similar. So open-ended questions is usually I do that at the end of the lesson when I'm asking them a very simple question, like, please ask me just one question about the content of the lesson we had today. Or I sometimes ask them to write, because I'm teaching language, right? 3 words that they remember from the lesson. Or sometimes I ask them to write one thing, one takeaway from the lesson. The scales, it's about certain statements, and then you can do the scale from 10 to 100 or from 1 to 10. It's for students, again, to agree or disagree with certain statements, or to see how much they agree with certain proposition statement. Of course, you can do ranking. It's also very nice in discussions. I do that sometimes for setting the goals for the course, because I usually, of course, come up with my goals, but sometimes I ask students how they feel about it, and then they can rank it and we can discuss it. What are the goals for the course if they feel like they're meaningful? That's also generates like really meaningful, interesting discussions. Q&A. I like this function. You can ask an audience anything, and if you don't, for example, if you do it via Zoom, of course you can do it via chat. But it's so nice if you have Q&A on Mentimeter, because you can save it and then you can go back to it, and it's also like has a more friendly interface. That's why I like it so much. So another thing that makes it beautiful, I think, it's the themes. They have really beautiful themes, and this is Explore is probably my favorite, and it looks like this. So you have a question or a poll or scale, whatever you want to have it, and it's going to be on this beautiful slide, on this beautiful design. That's why I like it. This is my second favorite design. So when you hit present, it's going to generate automatically the code. You see, this code on the top is generated for each presentation once you hit presentation button. And the students have to go to the website and enter the code. And this is how they enter Mentimeter, and they can answer your multiple choice or your question in real time. So this is how it works if they enter from their browser, from their computer. So this is how it would look like if they enter it from their phones. So they can download an app. So my students, for example, I ask them at the beginning of the course to download Mentimeter, because for the, to make it fast and more effective, because I use it a lot. So I want them to have it on their phones. And so this is a faster way maybe to access Mentimeter. So another app that I really like is Quizlet. Quizlet is a fantastic app it's a tool for flashcards, games, and learning tools. Again, I like Mentimeter and Quizlet a lot because it takes, I don't know, like Mentimeter would take like 1 minute to create, and Quizlet maybe 10 minutes to create a lesson. That's very easy, that's very engaging, and it's I believe it's beautiful interface as well. So again, to log in, I usually use my Google account, but there's a Facebook, you can log in via your email. This is how my dashboard looks like. And the most important button here is to create. So once you hit create, you can start creating your flashcards. So it says here study sets, folders, and class. I'm going to talk about only sets, but the folder function is very, very handy, though it's only available for Quizlet Plus. So it's like the apps that I'm showing you, they're free, but of course there are like extra features. If you want them, you would have to subscribe for certain plans. But I really think it's amazing that you can create as many sets as you want. The only problem is that maybe they would have ads on the site. So you'd have to come up with a name of the set, and then you can just enter the words. So if it's Kohay, what is that? It automatically generates the responses. That's why it's so fast. So a lot of words that you're going to enter. Once you enter the target language, so it's French, and here, for example, it's automatically translated in French, but in English, sorry. But you can actually set up Russian. I do that a lot because most of my students, their first language is Russian. So it's going to be French, Russian, or French, English. I have some students who know English and French, so it's done this way. So, and then also you can have a picture here. I'm going to show you. So it's the same logic, basically, auto suggestions. The picture is like image. If once you click on an image, it's automatically going to show you suggestions. Again, it's not that something that I uploaded, it's already there. If you want to upload your own picture again, it's an extra function to be paid for, but they have like a really good library of pictures. So once you hit create, you're going to have that, you can already use them. So how does it look? It looks like this. It's the flashcard. So basically on the one side it's going to be English and the other French. So you can actually change it. There's like a setting, and you can choose to show both sides of the cards or just one side. Only first English or first French. So it's up to you how you want to set it up. I like the learn function. This is something that student can use at home, and that's what we do. Sometimes we learn some words in the classroom, and then I share this flashcards, and they can learn those words at home at their own pace. And learn is more, it's like show you the word and definitions, and if they miss some words, they're going to create, the algorithm would show this word again and again. The next one is write in English, and they would have to write it in French. Spell is a very nice function. So they're going to pronounce the word, and they would have to type the word, and it's automatically generated. Once you create the flashcards, all those functions are going to be available. Test is multiple choice, but test is actually a mix of multiple choice and matching and some other type of activities, again, to revise the words. I love this one. It's very interesting. So you'd have like a timer that would show a stopwatch that would show how fast you match the word to definition. So you'd have to drag the word to its definition. And it's interesting because it shows you the rating, who did it, who is the first place on this. So it's like an element of gamification here. Gravity is again a game, but my favorite is certainly Quizlet Live. That's a fantastic feature. So once you hit it, you would have a random teams or individuals. That's how I usually play individual teams. It means every student is actually entering their own codes, and we can see their progression as a bars. So you can do it from English to French or from French to English. So you set it up. Sometimes I play actually both to see what they remember most. So once you hit a start, this is what you would see. You would see, again, automatically generated code. They would have to go to Quizlet Live and enter the code. And that's it. They can start playing. Or the QR code is actually very handy. It allows them to enter the game in a matter of seconds. Of course, you would have to have at least 2 players. So if I teach one-to-one, I usually enter the game with my student and we play together. That's fun. Create a game, and that's probably it. I love it. It's very easy, and it's something that students can do on their own. So they can go back and revise the words. It's very useful, very easy. Sometimes I ask my students to create their own sets. So for example, if they're reading something, they're watching a video, I want them to create a Quizlet set. So Pronounce Live is one of my favorite apps, probably. I used it with my master students. They actually had to come up with an activity for Pronounce Live. I wanted them to be creative and come up with if you know summer model, substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. So I wanted to see how they could use this app creatively, not just as a pronunciation app, but to do it in a way that it could create some opportunities for creativity and collaboration. So you can listen to authentic speech models and read any text or word, record your own voice for comparison, and receive immediate feedback. I think my students love it because of the immediate feedback feature, because it's really fast, it's instant. You pronounce the word and you see the bar. I'm going to show you how it works. So first, what you have to understand, it only works on Google Chrome. So you would have to download the Google Chrome browser and use it from there. Once you're on the page, this is how it looks like. You need to log in. So for example, today tool is going to show you how to enter the token and how to use a trial. It's a fantastic opportunity. So first, this is how my dashboard looks like. So the most important is here, is Zhazira Karabalyeva. So I click on this triangle, and that's what I see. Use Pronounce Live, group settings, exercise, account, about. So the most important feature here is exercises. So once you click on the exercise, you would see all the exercise that I created. And I did it in English and in French. That's what I love about it. There are so many languages you can do. It's not just English. So once you hit the create new exercise, you click on this again, arrow. And that's it. You would have to write the name and enter any words that you want your students to practice, or sentences that you want your students to practice. So you choose the language, of course. And yeah, you enter the exercise. And I usually paste the text that we discussed on Quizlet. So I have this progression. So we watch the video, we revise the words that I do for a really short, English club or French club sessions. So we sometimes play Quizlet, and then these words are going to be in the Pronounce Live. So we have this nice progression, and they can practice actually those again at home. And they can also send me this report thing. So report would show how many words they practiced and what was the accuracy rate. So here it is. This is if you want to go to the first page, the exercises. I'm going to show you just one. I decided to slightly change it. It's not just words. I decided to make it phrases. And of course, because it was for my master students, I wanted to do something more creative. So I just found 10 empowering messages to share with students. And they had to pronounce these words and empowering phrases. I find it interesting that it was not easy for them to do it precisely. They were frustrated sometimes, but they were super excited about the opportunity to check how good their pronunciation was. Success means caring, so that was the phrase. So I clicked on try it yourself to record my voice. And then once I pronounced it, it shows the accuracy rate. So 96, and you see it's green. If it's not correct, it would show you exactly where the mistake is. I'm actually going to show you. So you can listen to the phrase. So it's, how to say, it's a voice, automatically generated voice that would pronounce this word or this phrase for you. And then you can try it yourself and you record your voice and then it shows you the result. This is how it works. But you can also play your take. So basically you can play your own voice and listen to it. So here, for example, it didn't sound just right, and it shows you exactly where it didn't sound right and maybe where to fix it. So basically you get the feedback, not just on like, so it's 80% or 90%. It shows you like the part that was wrong as well. So, and of course you can generate a report. This is the report. It shows you the original script, transcript, and the score. It shows you for every single phrase. So yeah, in the group settings, for example, there's a token. So this is the token that you take and share with your students. This is how it works. Once you share it, they can create their own accounts and enter the program. So if you have a group token, you saw how to find the token, right? You're as the person, as a teacher, you can share a token with your students, and it's going to be, you would see your students in the group settings. Yeah, and the last one is Bitmoji. It's not really a program, but it's something nice to have on the lesson. Sometimes I think in an online lesson we lack this, personalization. Like sometimes I think students lack the contact with a teacher. We don't see the teacher, or we see them in like this small screen. It's so nice to have a personal Bitmoji, and this Bitmoji that a teacher creates can be on every. You can come up with a project. I'm going to show like this. So for example, I sometimes start start in the beginning of the course. I talk about myself. I talk about my hobbies. Yeah, I like to introduce myself and show that. But also, sometimes when you come up with assignments, you can create a slide like that, and it could be like a welcoming page. And also, this page could be customized. You can add some links there, like a hyperlinks, and it's, it's you on a slide. And it's like here, for example, I showed like the mountains because Almaty is situated in the foothills of mountains. So it gives like a personal touch here. Some teachers actually have their pets on those slides, and it's really nice to have that. I did it with my students. I simply create a group photo, and that's what my students did. Do we have some more time, Jonathan? Because I wanted to show maybe Mentimeter real quick, or we don't have time.
I think we can. Shall we? Yeah, let's give it a go. We certainly can give another couple of minutes. And actually, it's a good opportunity for me to remind everybody to ask questions and to post their questions in the Q&A. But yeah, let's. People can be preparing their Q&A questions. But yes, let's go for Mentimeter now.
Fantastic. So here's on the slide. There's my email. So if you want to contact, and plus tool is going to share presentation with all of you. So if you want to look and see how to set up Mentimeter account or how to use Quizlet, you can have these presentations at any point. And yeah, you can create it and use it at any point. So, okay, stop screen sharing and I'll show you my Mentimeter. Like I said, I just click on Mentimeter, and because it's it's saved on my browser, it takes like 1 minute to do that. So I create a new presentation. It's a presentation, but it could be like a poll, a scale, remember? Anything. So I'll just write 26th of May, and I can come up with any question at all. Just wanted to show how easy it is to do that. It just takes like 2-3 clicks. It's the open-ended, and I can ask you and just say like, which one did you like? You find most interesting, okay? Okay, and I'm just writing Mentimeter, Pronounce Live, and Quizlet. And I hit present. Of course, I could do the theme to make it beautiful, but this is how it works. So as you can see on my screen, you're already voting. Amazing, that's very fast. So you go to menti.com, you enter this code, and you can choose from the 3 options. And of course, you can use it in many different ways, but I just wanted to show how easy, quick, and intuitive it is. Okay. We have a lot of people interested in Pronounce Live and Mentimeter. Not so much in Quizlet though. I love Quizlet.
Okay, so while people are finishing casting their votes, Zhazira, let me just ask you a couple of quick questions. And again, please do keep the questions coming into the Q&A. That would be brilliant. A first question for you. How do you find these resources? How do these materials kind of come onto your radar? Where do you find out about them?
Okay, so I constantly look for ideas. For example, I found about Sanako via Eventbrite. So I go to Eventbrite and search for teaching events, like teaching or learning, and I just go to webinars. This is how I found out about Sanako, for example. And then I tried to Pronounce Live trial. It was amazing. The second way I find out about it, I have a lot of friends who are teachers. So I always ask them, what did you try? What worked for you? I love to ask this question. Another thing I do, I have a lot of YouTubers who are teachers. And
okay.
They're teachers in like physics. I don't care actually what the subject is. If they're using interesting tools, I always want to try it out. Did I answer the question or?
You did. That's great. One more question for me, and then I will go to we'll see what the audience have come up with. The tools that you've outlined, obviously, as we're doing them, people are completing the Mentimeter now, clearly work brilliantly when you're teaching online, when you're teaching at distance, when you're handling students who aren't kind of in front of you in a classroom. Just describe how you might use them differently were you standing in front of a class of 20, 25 students. How is the delivery different face-to-face compared to an online environment?
Okay, I would have to say that I use Mentimeter in in-person teaching as well.
Okay.
When I used it, and I used Quizlet Live as well in person teaching. It's just like, I think it's more natural when it's online because it's like, okay, we don't have any tool, right? If I create a tool like poll in the classroom, it's a bit unnatural because like we can just, raise hands and stuff like that. So it's like faster. But then if you want responses that are anonymous, maybe that's the better way to do that. So like there's some shy students who don't want to speak up, but they really want to express their opinions. It's a good opportunity because in Mentimeter it's anonymous, so it's not like you write your name. So nobody sees that. So everybody can vote, everybody can write what they think. So I use it in the classroom as well. It's just like I use overhead projector, internet. You do the same. So you basically share your screen, like you share the slide, you share the students, and they cast votes. That works pretty much the same. And Quizlet Live actually works better when it's in person because the kids it. They start chatting, talking, creating those like groups. Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. So some questions. There's a question actually in the chat for some reason from Sylvie en français, but I will attempt to translate it into English. Basically asking, I think, how do you create an avatar and what program do you use to create an avatar? Have you ever had experience of doing that, Zhazira?
Yes. Bitmoji is an avatar of you, basically.
Yes.
It's very complex. So first you would have to create your Snapchat. So you need to create your Snapchat account. Then you need to kind of scan your face, and it's going to show you like a generic feature of yours. And then you can change this is like another app. It's called Bitmoji. This is a specific app. And then I also have this as an extension on my Google Chrome browser. So every time I Google Chrome Google slide presentation, I can just drag it from my Bitmoji extension. So it works fantastic on the browser and it works fantastic on the phone. Yeah.
Okay. There's a question. Again, do keep the questions coming into the Q&A. Somebody's asking a question about Edpuzzle, Edpuzzle. Have you used that at all, and how have you found working with that?
I haven't used that. I'm sorry. I have no idea.
Well, there's one to add to the list. It's a personal learning network in action. There are some other questions here, guys, that people have asked around how much you have to pay. Again, for Quizlet and for Mentimeter. Zhazira, just refresh your memory, but I think you said that there was a free option and a paid option. Just explain to everybody how that works.
So I don't know, I used for 5 years, I used Quizlet without paying. So you can totally use it. And if you really like it, of course you can upgrade your account. And it's going to be like, once a year you would have certain payment. I think Mentimeter is more expensive, Quizlet is cheaper, but I don't know about exact sum right now. I actually have the Quizlet. Plus, but I mean, you can totally first and then decide if you really need it, because as a teacher, I use so many apps, and I don't think it's good to always, pay for another app and so on and so forth. It just becomes like too much at some point.
And I guess one final question, which is which we all have to think about, don't we, in when teaching online or using these apps. Are there any disadvantages? Are there any challenges? Are there any problems that you've experienced? Are there any things that you could recommend from your experience that fellow educators should be looking out for or watching out for from using these apps in the classroom?
Absolutely. The biggest problem is that sometimes and it happens all the time, like internet doesn't work. Students cannot enter the app, and it's like it happens every single time. And sometimes you just have to have plan B. Yep. I think it's always plan B. So if it doesn't work, what else can you do? Because on Quizlet, it doesn't work. What should I do? I usually have slides as a backup. So the slides could work as a flashcards as well. Like there's a word, there's a definition, and then we can come back, or it's going to be appearing as animation and so on and so forth. So yeah, always have plan B. Technologies can always fail. It will not work. And sometimes I do like a little thing, like I did it many times. Like in a classroom, I would just offer my phone, or like, okay, play from my phone. It's just like so many ways it can go wrong. Just be prepared.
I think that's very sensible advice. And just finally, just to be, oh, we've got one other question. Okay, Tim Middleton, thank you for your comment there on Edpuzzle, which I will share with Zhazira as well. Zhazira, just one final, more of a comment, I guess, rather than a question. But you have said that we will circulate the link so that attendees are able to access your presentation, which we will circulate along with the recording after the event. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. So everything that was on is really accessible. I'm sharing my Google Drive link. So anyone who wants to look back on slides, like to really use the programs, you can absolutely download the presentation and use it.
Amazing. Thank you. That's brilliant. Okay, so we talked, Zhazira talked at length about Pronounce Live, and we are delighted to offer attendees today a free trial to use this in your institutions. We will be able to, you will be able to start using this immediately, but we will also be putting the details in the follow-up email that will be circulated to everybody. But so you can immediately now go to pronouncelive.com, which is where you can access that. Up at the top right there, have a group token, register your account there. And my colleague too is now pasting into the chat on the webinar the group token that you now need to use. So when you go through here to begin to create your account, your trial account, simply type in, paste in the token that we have there, and then just go through to finalize and complete the account by entering these simple and straightforward details. So name, email, password, and password confirmation. So that will give you access to Sanako's Pronounce Live product. And as Zhazira did a great job of showcasing how that might be used by your students, either remotely or in the classroom, to practice their pronunciation and to work on that and to follow the feedback that comes back from that solution. So please do sign up and take advantage of that. And just finally, from everybody at Sanako, thank you for joining today's webinar. We hope that you found it interesting, and we of course would welcome your feedback on what you've heard today. And we absolutely would welcome your thoughts and comments on potential future webinars. And if you're inspired by Zhazira's excellence today, to share your knowledge and your best practice with other educators, then please do let us know. Simply email info@sanako.com with your suggestions or recommendations, or your suggestions to put yourself forward. But again, just to reiterate, we will be communicating with everybody following this this webinar. We will include a recording of the webinar. We will also reiterate the information that you need, the login details that you need for your 1-month free trial, and we will then use that email address to keep you updated with future webinar details and information as they become available. And as she mentioned, we will also include the link to Zhazira's Google Drive so that you can access and use that presentation and put that into practice and use some of those tools in your classroom, sorry, not in her classrooms, in your classrooms, to transform your language teaching. But again, finally, thank you very much for joining us today. We hope you found it of value, and we hope to see you again on future and upcoming Sanako webinars. Thank you very much for your time today. Thanks a lot.